Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Investor TV. I'm Nick Sifoni, your host, and I'm glad you're here to join me. I want to start the episode off with a little story. It's the story of two brothers. They're twin brothers, and the parents are a little concerned. One of the kids is always positive. I mean, he's happy no matter what you throw at him. It doesn't matter how gloomy it is outside, how bad it is inside, whatever. No matter what, this kid is happy. Now he's got a brother who's always upset. He doesn't eat his vegetables. His parents aren't happy with him. He's just not fun to be around. And he's kind of a mope, you know what I mean? Well, the parents can't take it much longer. So they take these two kids to a shrink. They figure, let's at least see what's wrong with them. Try to get them both brought over to one side or the other, so at least they can, they can survive in the same household, and the parents can, take it easy. All right. So the doctor takes the positive kid, and he puts him in a room that has nothing in it but a big pile of poop. I mean, that's all it is. In the middle of the room, just a big pile of poop. I mean, it's stacked higher than the kid, I tell you. Now, the little negative kid, he gets put in a room that has anything a kid could possibly imagine. I mean, there's swing sets and toys and roller skates and bicycles and skateboards and games and a table full of cakes and candies and cookies and donuts, and there's games and toys and slot machines and foosball and pool. I mean, there's a jungle gym. Anything this kid could possibly want is in this room. And that's where they put the little sad negative kid. Parents and the doctor are split. They leave them in there on their own. About an hour later, they come back. Well, first they say, let's check on the negative kid. Well, they walk in the room, and at first they have a little trouble finding him. They look around. He's under a table, sitting there with his hands. Oh, hi, Zazu. Did you guys meet Zazu on the last episode? Anyway, they finally find the kid. He's not doing anything. He's just sitting there. He said, son, there's all those games over there. Why didn't you play? He said, I thought I might lose. But son, there's a swing set and bicycles and roller skates. Why aren't you doing something like that? He said, I thought I might hurt myself. He said, son, there's a table and it's full of everything a kid could possibly want to eat. Pizza, and there's ice creams, and there's Jell-O and jelly beans and candy, and you name it, it's there. And he said, I thought I might get a bellyache. Well, they said, you know what, you just sit right there, son, and we'll be back in a while. They figured he wouldn't get into anything. So they go to the next room over, where the positive kid is. Now, you remember what's in the room with the positive kid, you know? So they go in there, and all they see, I mean, this pile that used to be, it's manure, this pile that used to be yay big, they go in there and this pile is small and it's all over, and I mean, it's on the walls and it's on the ceiling, and all they see is this kid dove in the pile head first, and I mean, he's flailing and swinging and throwing and stuffing, and stop, son, stop, what are you doing? And the little fella turns around and he says to the doctor and his parents, with all this manure, there's got to be a pony somewhere. I hope you're laughing. Anyway, if it's not too funny, there is a point. And the point is, you make your own destiny. You decide every day what your opportunity is. You decide if this is the business that's going to make you wealthy, whatever anyone else is thinking. You could probably catch on to what I'm talking about. Right now, there's a lot of, the sky is falling mentality in the real estate industry. You hear a lot. I mean, you can't turn on the newspaper You can't turn on the news or a news site online or open a newspaper and not read about foreclosures are at an all-time high. Financing is tough to get. People are losing their houses. The bubble has burst. I mean, you hear it all, and it's gloom and doom and naysayers and bad and dread. And you know what? Right now is a dang good time to be in this business. And I'm going to tell you why. First off, for traditional investors, it's a little tougher right now. And when I say traditional investors, I mean guys that go to the bank and they get a loan, they buy a house, and they rent that house out long term, and at the end of the term it's paid for. So it's a little tougher to get a loan because you have to qualify. All these foreclosures are making those lenders, I mean, they're sealing up tighter than a drum, and for good reason. But that's the positive side of that too, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. So people that are just buying houses to rent, it's a little tougher to get financed right now, but the houses are cheap. I mean, house prices have, and you hear it on the news. So there's a lot of sellers right now. Prices are the lowest I can remember them being. I mean, I can remember prices being lower. I'm talking about relative to the economy, relative to inflation. This is the best time to be buying a house. If, you know, even if you're thinking about buying a new house, we're buying another house within the next 6-8 months. We're buying another house. Why? Because we can get a much bigger house for the same money. I mean, it's just the time to buy right now. It's like stocks. When stocks are down is the time to buy. When everybody else is freaking out, the guys that buy are the ones that when they go back up make a fortune. So use it to your advantage right now. The news is telling everybody how bad it is, how terrible it is, how wrecked the real estate market is. Well, you know what? Your sellers are shaking in their boots. They don't think they're ever going to sell. So use that to your advantage when you're negotiating with them. You know, just don't throw it in their face, but throw in little things, well, you know how the market is right now. And that type of thing, and nod when you're saying it. Well, you know how the market is right now, and Mr. Seller, I'd love to give you a little more money, but you know how the market is right now. And it might even be going down. So, depending on what part of the country you're in, some of it is still going down, some of it's at a standstill, and there are parts of the country where prices are going back up. Obviously, there's not a lot of them, but it's a good time to be buying. And here's the type of strategies that are hot right now that you could make a fortune with over the next couple of years if you're smart. That's the disclaimer bell. I said if you're smart. You know, don't just willy-nilly do this. Make sure you know what you're doing, or get some education, or keep watching the show, or a good mentor, or whatever it is. But lease options and subject to deals are the best they have ever been. I mean, there's so many people that can't sell their houses right now, and their houses are sitting, and these people are making 2 mortgage payments, or they're making payments on an empty house. Now is the time to be buying up those lease options, and to be buying up subject to houses where they just sign the house over to you and leave town and leave you to do whatever you want, you know, with the house. Because the folks that buy them now and rent them out, in a few years when this market turns back around, they're going to make a small fortune. So it's a good time to be doing that right now. It is also a good time for buy and hold, like I mentioned before. Buy and hold is when you just buy a property. Even if you do go out and get a mortgage, I don't suggest it. I don't do it. I've got mortgages on, besides the house I own, I've only got mortgages on 2 houses out of the dozens of deals I've done in the last couple of years. But in any case, wholesaling is also excellent right now. Wholesaling will always be good. It doesn't matter. You know, when the prices go up, you can still get a deal. When the prices come down, you can still get a deal. I will mention, make sure to do due diligence. You know, make sure that you're doing your homework when you're wholesaling. Make sure that you know your market, and make sure that before you get a contract on a house, that you know where that house stands as far as its true value. Not what the realtors say, not what the seller says. Make sure you know how to run some comps, and you get a true value of the house, and adjust it for the area and where it's going to be in a few months. But wholesaling is still good. These options are subject to. I am turning the faucets on in my business right now with subject to houses. I got a subject to house week before last. I put a sign out in front of it, rent to own, and by the next morning, it was leased. It was sold. It was gone. I had a $4,000 lease option, option fee in my pocket. Another reason, and I'm going back to this, but another reason subject tos and lease options are so good, our typical exit strategy for a lease option or subject to is to sell it to somebody with an option, lease with an option to purchase. Since it's so tight right now, like I talked about before, and how hard, it's tough to get a mortgage right now, people that 2 years ago could have walked into any lender in the country and got financed are getting turned down. They still want a home of their own. It is, I won't say never, but I can't remember the last time it was easier to get a house filled on a rent-to-own basis than it is right now. So don't listen to the media for what we're doing. And man, you want no money down? It's all over the place. People are giving houses away right now, literally giving houses away. Yeah, you got to make the mortgage payments. But now 2 years ago, it was a reverse market. It was hard to buy houses 2 years ago and easy to sell. It was tougher to find the deals because houses were selling like that. You know it, you were there. Houses were selling fast. So it was hard to get a good deal. So we were even taking houses that were marginal deals because they were so easy to sell. They were lending to everybody. If they've been 2 years ago, they were giving people $300,000 mortgages that I wouldn't rent a house to. Of course, everybody's paying for it now with the high foreclosure rate. But regardless, 2 years ago it was hard to buy and easy to sell. Now it's the reverse. It's easy to buy houses right now with great prices and great terms. Like I said, people are giving them away, but it's a little tougher to sell. So you might want to change your strategy a little bit. A lot of creative investors right now are marketing for buyers instead of sellers. Sellers are a dime a dozen. Put an ad in the paper, throw up a sign, your phone will ring, but it's tougher to find the buyers. So we're marketing for buyers. We have ads in the paper and websites that target lease to rent to own properties. We're just creating lists of rent to own buyers. Then when we find the house, we just plug them in. It's easy to do, like I said. So just like the little boy who found that or was looking for that pony, you knew that pony was there somewhere. Don't listen to the news, don't listen to the media. Be smart, but this business always works. It doesn't matter what part of the cycle we're in. In the 80s, when interest rates were 14%, investors were cleaning up in this business. Now interest rates are 5%. Investors are still cleaning up in this business. We just have to change our taxes. We have to think differently. So stay on top of the business, learn, educate yourself. I'm always preaching, get educated, get educated, get educated. So, remember, I'm almost done, by the way. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube or on Blink TV or on Google Video or one of those, you're probably not getting the whole show. You're probably only getting the first half of it. And I guarantee you there's a lot of shows that are on the website that we never even put on Google. So make sure you actually come to www.rei/tv.com. In future shows, one of the next couple shows, we're going to teach you how to get your houses listed on the MLS for nothing, regardless of if you're a realtor or not. It's a little tougher to find buyers now, right? How's that going to help you? Thanks for listening. Zazu says, go make an offer.